Welcome to Falmouth Sailing Week 2020. While similar events everywhere have been cancelled due to COVID-19, we're delighted that Falmouth Sailing Week is going ahead. The organising committee, which of course is made up of representatives of the 6 local sailing and yacht clubs, have worked extremely hard in a consistently positive way to overcome all the difficulties so that we could go ahead with it. Throughout our planning, the safety of competitors and race officials has always been a top priority for us, and this has led to a different format to that of normal years. While we recognise that the traditional teas and prize givings at the 6 clubs are a hugely important part of Falmouth Sailing Week, in the current circumstances they are unfortunately out of the question. In accordance with the RYA's guiding principles, we're adopting a conservative and considerate approach. With that in mind, there are 2 main additional safety measures. Life jackets must be worn at all times by all competitors, and in certain conditions, in particular races, the race officers may decide that spinnakers are not to be used. While recognising that some of you take your racing more seriously than others, we urge you all to accept and respect all of the extra measures we've had to put into place this year, and to take part in the event in the spirit of fun and enjoyment. We are very grateful to our sponsors, Ancaster, Mylor Yacht Harbour and Hine Downing, who've continued to support us during these difficult times. We're delighted that we've attracted as many entrants as we have, and we very much hope that you have a really enjoyable 4 days of racing. For the Carrick Roads racing, we realised early on that we would not be able to run things from a committee boat while maintaining adequate social distancing, so we decided that the next best alternative would be to use the Pendennis Point Black Rock line. This means, of course, that unless we happen to have northerly winds, we will not have windward starts in the way that we normally do. There will be 1 race on Wednesday for the Ancaster sponsored champagne prizes, and then 2 races a day for all classes on Thursday, Friday and Saturday for the Mylor Yacht Harbour series. On those days, we'll endeavour to start the 2nd race as soon as possible after the completion of the 1st race, but not necessarily in the same class starting order as the 1st race. All races will be finished as usual from the Finnish vessel Melkin, which this year will be stationed just to the east of Falmouth Dock's eastern breakwater. We will not be displaying any visual signals, and all communications will be on VHF radio, channel M2, which on some radios is N2 or P4. Please note that's a different channel to the one we normally use. So have a great 4 days racing. For those of you who will be racing in the bay, I'm now going to hand you over to Chris Davis, who will be your race officer.
Well, good morning everyone. This is an unusual skipper's briefing, but it's been a weird year. Just to go through the main points and to welcome you to the Bay Fleet for the 2020 Falmouth Sailing Week. Just to go through the main points of the sailing instructions. The first thing is you've got to man the boats in accordance with the COVID regulations as they stand now. Hopefully they won't change again before the regatta starts, but whatever, you've got to man the boats in accordance with them. The second thing is, because we have no rib out this week, we can't man it because of the regulations and, to be frank, the average age of the people running it. Life jackets are mandatory, unfortunately, irrespective of the weather. I don't care if it's a flat calm, you'll have to wear them. The next thing is that, particularly tomorrow with the champagne race, which is obviously a long race, you'll all be on reduced manning on your boats because you're obeying the same rules as I am, and so autopilots are allowed, which is unusual, but that's the way it's going to be. Likewise, for safety reasons, no rib in the bay, so spinnakers, if the team on the committee boat think that spinnakers are a bit dodgy, then we'll put the second substitute up with whatever class flag is appropriate, and you won't be allowed to fly your spinnaker, and you'll be handicapped using your YTC white sail handicap, even though for any other race you've got your spinnaker handicap. Any signals made ashore will be at the Royal Cornwall and maybe at St Mawes and and Mylor, I think, from memory. But anyway, they'll be displayed at the Royal Cornwall. The normal routine is one race tomorrow for the Champagne race, a long one, 4 hours. So for the fast boats, it'll be 25 miles or so. And then thereafter, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 2 races per day, unless we're in catch-up mode for bad weather, which looks unlikely, in which case it'll be 3. There are 4 classes in the bay, 46 entries, which is astounding. Never thought we'd have that many with this particular madness we're all living through. So they're Echo, Uniform, Quebec and Romeo classes, each with round about 10 boats in, 13 I think in Echo class. And we'll start them for the first race of that day of the day in that order. And then thereafter, Thursday, Friday, Saturday particularly, we'll start them in any order depending on how many, whichever classes are ready to start the next race. The start line will be my own boat, Easeld, a little sloop, 30-foot sloop, at one end of the line, and Hine Downing at the other. And obviously you'll be told the first mark of the course, and you'll gather on the other side of the line from that. Having a fixed line like that with Hine Downing, which is quite close into Pendennis Point, means that we can't guarantee a windward start, which is a shame and not something I prefer to do, but it's the way it is this year. And I'll get as close to a beat, it might be a fetch, it might be a beam reach, whatever, as I can. And we don't want a load of boats piling up at the first mark and on a spinnaker run. So that's what I shall do. It'll be a Rule 26 procedure, except that we won't display starting flags. What we'll do is everything on the radio, channel 7.2, with sound signals. If we have a recall, that will have a flag displayed. Likewise, any abandonments or postponements, they'll have sound signals plus the flags. General recalls, you'll have read the sailing instructions, but what we will do is basically stop the job and call everybody back, and then we'll start that class again, so we'll have a delay for the other classes in the pecking order. The time limits, just to say, Paras 16, or sailing instructions 16.1, 16.2, that should be read as the first boat in class rather than first boat in the regatta, if that makes sense. So that's a straightforward thing, normal stuff. I just thought I'd clarify it. Other than that, I think I've covered all the main points. I would normally ask for any questions, but that's not possible now. So I wish you all the very best and hope you have a good regatta. I'm certainly looking forward to it. I never thought we'd have a regatta like this in such an unusual year. Anyway, I'll see you out on the racecourse and at the Royal Cornwall afterwards if you come that way. All the very best.